new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time. I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time to discuss whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life that you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. We are here because God is concerned about that which concerns you. So you may call every day now on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. You can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, dating and relationships. You can discuss raising children, blending families. Again, whatever's on your heart, whatever's in your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. So we are here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you by Fiji Water. You may already know that Fiji Water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock. The water collects in a natural artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is Earth's finest water. And for all of our listeners and viewers who continue giving on the Give segment of our app, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast, we thank you for your commitment and for your support as we are here to fulfill our commitment to God, to be able to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. So I'm going to begin by reminding all of our listeners and viewers that we continue to expand the broadcast. And I don't want anyone to miss this, because as we go into the coming year, we will be scheduling interviews on our new Zoomcast. And also, we'll be scheduling interviews with individuals during the broadcast. And we will also be scheduling interviews with our students from our Achievers Academy to interview celebrated individuals that they would like to interview. And so we want to ask you to continue encouraging everyone you know, all of your family, all of your friends, coworkers, and colleagues, to tune in to 3D. The Daily Divine Direction broadcast, so that we can encourage the young people who will be doing interviews also, in addition to having guests on our broadcast. So we'll be providing you with that information as we continue to move forward. As you know, we've expanded the broadcast, we've expanded our platforms, and we're going to continue doing so right here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. We received a communication from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are in a complicated relationship with your ex-husband and with whom you have shared custody. And you also are in a complicated relationship with the new man in your life and his joint custody with his ex. So you're right, it's complicated. You know, that's an analogy that we use in today's society for a lot of things that don't have a lot of sound structure. But let me say this to you. I have seen throughout the years, I have seen adults navigate these circumstances successfully. So it can be done. Let's start there. You will get to that point at some point in time. It can be done successfully. And as I was prayerful about this, God allowed me to see in that secret place of your lives, moving forward, you will all be able to come to a place where you will have peace. You'll be able to make sure that the children get everything that they could possibly need to have a good quality of life. But it takes time to get there. And you're going to have to recognize that this is going to be a process. So I'm going to take time out to address each component of that the way God has shown me it can be resolved, and to bring you all to a successful resolution. You have to recognize that when you have children involved, first of all, everyone has to be adults. Now, you don't always have to be friends, because there are going to be personalities involved, but you do have to be adults. And because children are children, you all are the adults in the equation. So you're going to have to find it necessary, first of all, to work with your ex-husband to navigate the joint custody effectively and efficiently. The new man in your life is going to have to find it necessary to help you navigate that. That doesn't mean that the two of them are going, your ex-husband and your new man are going to be friends. Doesn't imply they're going to be drinking buddies. Doesn't imply that they're going to be going to sporting events together. What it implies is that he's going to have to help you to navigate that. And meaning there may be times when it's drop off and exchange that he might have to help with that, help to navigate that. Don't eliminate him from the equation of that, because you're going to need that help. Don't eliminate him from the equation of that, because he's a willing participant. He's willing to help. Your ex-husband can be a little challenging at times, but they'll navigate that as men. They'll be able to navigate that. Neither of them are bad people. So they'll be able to navigate that, and they'll be able to help you navigate that successfully. At the same time, you're going to find it necessary to help him navigate with his shared custody. To date, what you've all been doing, and I'm just want you to know that God has shown me in its entirety what's going on in that secret place of all of your lives. To date, you've been putting up a firewall between the new man in your life and your ex-husband. Your ex-husband has been dealing with you in a different way because now you have a new man in your life. His ex-wife, he's put a firewall between you and his ex-wife, and his ex-wife has been dealing with you in ways that sometimes aren't necessarily the most cordial. All of you are going to have to come to a place where you're going to create some normalcy. Because what happens is that when there's that many moving parts among adults, the children are going to be impacted. They're going to start to choose sides. They're going to find it necessary to try to deal with all of the adult activities, and they're not equipped to deal with that emotionally. So I'm going to recommend something, because this will allow you to make this successful. And let me tell you what that looks like. You have a new man in your life. He has an ex-wife. You have an ex-husband. They haven't really told you what's going on in their personal lives, so you're unaware. But here's what I'm going to recommend to all of you. Your ex-husband, his ex-wife, and you and the new man in your life. Invite everyone to go out to dinner. Tell the new man in your life that you want to invite everyone to go out to dinner, including the children. And the reason is because you want them to see the level of maturity that you all are a united front. Let's try it that way. Everyone go out to dinner together, sit down and break bread together as extended family, so that everyone can get familiar, because there's a lot of children involved here, so that everyone can get familiar with one another, and everyone can know the rules of exchange and drop off, the shared custody, everyone can know the rules. This is real important, so that everyone has a clear picture of what's going to be done to make certain that the children have the best quality of life, and that you all have the best quality of life that you could possibly experience. When you tell the new man in your life that, he'll be receptive. And then what you all need to do is get on conference calls. In other words, you and the new man in your life can call your ex-husband on the conference call, send him a text, let him know first that the two of you are going to be calling him, and then he can do the same thing with his ex-wife. So that all of you can come together and navigate this. It will take some time for everyone to wrap their head around all of the dynamics. However, you will get to a place where this can be done successfully. I wouldn't recommend this for everyone because everyone's not at those level of maturities. In this case, you all can do this. And when I say at that level of maturity is because people get caught up in their emotions and all of those things. The reality is that you're all capable of navigating this. And if they have significant others in their lives, tell them they can bring their significant others. Because everyone needs to know how they're going to navigate the best quality of life for the children. And you all have a lot of children involved. So you want to make sure you get this right so that the children can have a great quality of life and that all of you can have a great quality of life. There is a lot going on here. You're right, you say it's complicated. It has been complicated because everyone's been trying to keep their firewalls up and everyone's been trying to navigate the relationships and it's a lot of stuff. But you can eliminate some of the stuff, for lack of a better term. You can eliminate the challenges by sitting down and having real conversations. Because all of you are mature enough to do that. Listen, there's a lot of people who aren't able to do that. But you all are capable of doing this. Let's get it right and make certain that the children can enjoy a great quality of life and that all of you can experience the fullness of God in all of your lives. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you over into our queue so that you can experience T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a monthly discount on your T-Mobile bill and experience T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. I also want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, we're asking for your support in our partnership with T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. We want to maximize our partnership with T-Mobile in the coming year. So if you're not currently a T-Mobile customer, because that's the only way that we can move you over into our queue. If you're not a current customer of T-Mobile, we are asking you for your support to move over into our queue and become a T-Mobile customer at T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. And I want to say this again to all of our listeners and viewers, because when we ask for your support in these partnerships that we have, and we want everyone drinking Fiji water, we want everyone being a T-Mobile customer, we want everyone shopping with Charles Terrett and The White Company. But we also want to thank you. We don't take you for granted for your weekly and monthly support of our broadcast. There's a significant amount of cost involved in being on the infrastructure cost and being on the air 6 days a week. And we are here 6 days a week. I get 1 day off. and we appreciate you supporting the broadcast and your commitment, because we've made a commitment to God to be here to address whatever challenges you might need to address, whatever you find issues of life you find difficult to navigate. We're here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your father is dating someone who is the exact same age as yourself. You're both 32. You're 32 and your father's new lady friend is 32 also. And your father's 55. So I'm going to finish your communication before I address that. You are struggling with this because you say you don't want to, you have to spend the holidays now with both of them. And this is the first year you've had to spend the holidays with them both. She was present for Thanksgiving. She's going to be present for Christmas. And you're struggling with the fact that your father's dating someone who is your age, exactly your age. Okay. You know, listen, you've got to know that it's understandable that you would feel that way, because fathers and daughters have a very special relationship. You know, fathers and daughters, even if they're having challenges getting along due to divorce, there's always going to be a special relationship with a father and daughter. And often it's because it's the one person, the one woman in a man's life, and unless they are married forever, it's the one woman in a man's life who will love them unconditionally, without any conditions whatsoever. Now, some people say, well, those are mothers do that too, but every mother's not the same. Some people say wives, your wife is going to be the person who loves you unconditionally. Well, we know 50% of the time that's not true, because divorce happens. But a father and a daughter, that's the one time that a man has a woman in his life who, and it starts from being a girl, who loves him unconditionally, and that he can love unconditionally. So it's natural for you to feel that someone's invading your territory, for lack of a better term. However, she's not his daughter. She's a relationship. And for whatever their reasons are, you have two consenting adults who have decided they're going to date, no matter how you feel about it. You have to come to terms with that. And you want to spend time with your father for the holidays, but you don't necessarily want to spend time with his lady friend for the holidays. But the two go hand in hand. And then, you didn't say this in your communication, but there's that underlying current in your mind that says it's possible that your father may have children with her. So there's that in the back of your mind is, she's young enough that I could possibly have siblings if my father continues dating her. There's a lot of things going on aside from the fact that you just can't like her. It's not that she's not a likable person. You're having a challenged with the emotional aspect of your father dating someone who is your age. And part of that is because, even though you didn't say this, God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life, part of that concern stems from the possibility that your father may end up having children with her. So that's another struggle for you. It's not that she's a bad person, it's all the things that go along with the possibilities of where the relationship might go. What you've got to know is that wherever the relationship goes between these two consenting adults, you've got to know that your father's love for you is unchanging. His relationship with you is unchanging. Now you feel like, well, he should set her aside and spend time with you for the holidays when you're spending time with him, but he's trying to include you because he's in a relationship that he's spending time with someone for the holidays. Listen, I understand completely, because God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life, the challenge that you're dealing with emotionally. But set all of that aside and think about this. You don't know where the relationship's going. You don't know how long it will last. But what you can do is include yourself in the life of your father and in his relationship by getting to know the young lady and making certain that if your father's going to continue a relationship with her long term, that you build a relationship that is based on a threefold cord that cannot be broken. These are two consenting adults. You know, I recognize that your father, because again, God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life, your father is very protective about who you date. He's not trying to live your life, but he does take an interest in anyone that you're dating. And that's because he wants what's best for you. Well, you can be concerned about the same thing with him also. And determine, is this someone that is right for him? Now, I've got to tell you, because I'm always going to speak what God speaks to me. This is someone that not just makes him happy, this is someone who's responsible, this is someone who is really genuinely interested in your father. Not because he's, successful, and not because he is, living well, but because, which he is, but because she's genuinely interested in him as a man. You might be saying, well, why can't she do that with someone her own age or in her own age group? But she doesn't find men in her own age group to be on the same intellectual or emotional level that she's on. That happens from time to time. But those aren't even the important issues. The important issues are that you recognize that whatever your father and this young lady determined to do with their lives moving forward, he still wants you to be a part of that. And that's the reason that he's not changing anything different about what he does with you during the holidays. You're normally with him, you do go and visit your mother, but you're normally with him also Thanksgiving, you're with him on Christmas, you're with him, for holidays. And he's going to continue including you because that's the bond he wants to have with you. And you're his only daughter. You're his only daughter. His two sons, they don't really care what he does or who he dates, but you're his only daughter. So it's time for you to be present, continue to love your father, and continue to accept that he's competent, capable and competent to make decisions for his life that will allow him to experience the fullness of God in all of his life and in your life. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, check their store hours, stop in at their retail store. So they have everything that a man could possibly need: shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. And if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And right now, if you order shirts from Charles Tyrwhitt, you can receive 4 high-quality cotton shirts for $199, and 2 high-quality cashmere sweaters for $179.50. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. If you're in New York, check their store hours. Stop in at the retail store. They have everything that you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. If you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. Both companies will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com and The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have a sister that is, a sister-in-law who is extremely opinionated, and you really do not want to suffer spending time with her during the holidays. You indicated that your family tolerates her to keep the peace. You know what, the simple thing to say about this is there are people who are very opinionated in all of our lives. There are also people who we don't always want to tolerate. People with different personalities. We don't always want to suffer everyone, okay? But I like what your family's doing in the sense of this, and this is pleasing unto God. In efforts to keep the peace, she is your sister-in-law. And in efforts to keep the peace, your family tolerates her. You made that very clear. Based on the fact that God allowed me to see in that secret place of all of your lives, you've had these conversations with your family, and they've given you their response. So that you do know that they tolerate her because she's married to your brother. They tolerate her because they want to keep the peace, and they tolerate her because they want the family together during the holidays. Well, what I have to say about that is simply this. I don't know how many holidays that you're together, but let's just, for the sake of discussion, say that you're together for New Year's. You are together for the resurrection season, Easter Sunday for some people who don't celebrate as we celebrate. Maybe Memorial Day, the 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. You're talking about 7 holidays a year. And if you don't show up for every one of those, you don't really have to tolerate her any more than you're going to find it very difficult to get away with not being present for Thanksgiving and for Christmas because you live in the same community. So those are going to be, for lack of a better term, mandatory, okay, in keeping the peace. But you get to decide how many of the other holidays you're going to show up. You get to decide how much time you're going to spend when you show up for those holidays. But in efforts to keep the peace, your family has decided they will let her express her opinions, and they will not present a rebuttal. They're not interested in challenging her opinion. They just allow her to have her opinion, and they keep peace. Sometimes it's just not worth it. And don't allow it to disrupt your emotional psyche because you are going to have to spend Christmas with her now. Enjoy Christmas with your family. This is just one of the holidays that you can't avoid. And this is one of those holidays that you won't be able to avoid her. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D is brought to you by Fiji